I'm not having a good day today. Oh, well, if it records like my second class, it's not going to show anything on the screen anyways, for some reason. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing, plug it into the equation. So I've got 7 squared plus b squared equals 25 squared. So 49 plus b squared equals 625. So in order to find out what b squared equals, what do I need to do? Anybody? Very good. I'm going to subtract 49 because I have to get the b squared alone. So b squared is going to be equal to 625 minus 49. It's 576. And of course, I want b instead of b squared, so I'm going to take the square root of it. So b is approximately going to be equal to the square root of 576. Oh, sorry. I actually have to do square root 76. Oh, it's 24. It's not even approximately equal to. This one is exactly equal to. Sorry, 24. Okay, questions? Okay, you guys. So, what? I'm glad I'm good. Okay, so for A, the answer should be C is approximately 5.831. And on B, C is approximately 12.728. And on C, B equals 8. Whew, done. Any questions? Beautiful. Okay. So the next section we have, it says, draw a picture of the situation, then solve. Round your answer to 3 decimal places. The pictures are really hard, I want you guys to know, because they're all right triangles. Right? So I have to draw a picture of the situation. But guess what? All the pictures will be a right triangle. Yeah. I mean, they're all right triangles. But the thing about this is that we're not doing trig yet. This is just Pythagorean theorem. So we're still doing Pythagorean theorem. We're finding a missing side. So my picture is a right triangle. Ooh, okay, I'm going to draw a right triangle. Whew. There's my right triangle. It's kind of wonky, but you know, hey. The hypotenuse is 8 meters long, and one leg is 4 square root of 3 meters. Find the length of the other side. There's my picture. Beautiful. Okay? So now I'm going to say x squared plus 4 square root of 3 squared equals 8 squared. So now my question to you guys is, what's 4 plus 4 square root of 3 squared? Ooh. Squared. Mm-hmm. No, that's wrong. That wasn't a bad guess though. Can I ask how you got 24?
Well, 4 times 4 times 4, I probably did it wrong, but 4 times 4 times 4, 4 to, I don't know how I got it.
So why are you doing 4 times 4 times 4? Because it's only squared.
Something with a 3. So I did 4 times 3, 4 times 4 times 4, which is 4 times 3 is 12, and then I squared it to 24.
That's multiplying by 2.
Yeah.
Not squaring it. So that's okay. I was like, hold on, where's she getting 4 times 4 times 4? Okay, so this is how we do it. But you were almost so right. Okay? So I have to do the square first, right? So remember that square gets distributed through, right? So I'm going to come over here. So I can rewrite this as 4 squared square root of 3 squared, right? So 4 squared is 16. What's the square root of 3 squared? What does a square and a square root do? Cancel each other out. So that means that's only 3. So 16 times 3 is, I think it's 48. So you were right that it's this 3, right? Because the square root of 3 squared is 3.
Yeah.
But then you just didn't do 4 squared. You multiplied, what you did is you multiplied them together before you square it. And the order of operations means I have to square it before I multiply it. That's the only thing you did wrong.
Okay.
Other than saying squaring is multiplying by 2. But so, does that make sense? But you were on the right track, Emma.
Okay.
So that's 48. So minus 48 minus 48. X squared equals, oh, I don't know, some number. 64 minus 48 is 16. Lovely. And then square root them, right? What's the square root of 16? Anybody? 4. Yeah, good, Skips. Good. And good, Rukia. Vanessa, I think you said it too. So x equals 4. Done. Wow. Not too bad, right? Yes. Yes, of course. Okay, how long is a guy wire if it reaches from the top of a 15-foot pole to a point on the ground 10 feet from the pole? Okay, so here's my pole. Ready? I'm a really good drawer. Here's my pole. It is 15 feet tall. Here's my ground, 10 feet here. Here's my wire. They want to know how long it is. Boom, there's my picture. Oh my gosh, it's a right triangle. I know, right?
That's so cool.
If you already know what the picture's going to look like, it shouldn't be that hard to draw it, right? It's going to be a right triangle. Okay, so it should be 15 squared plus 10 squared equals x squared. So 15, to the 225 plus 100 equals x squared. And then, is that the answer, Skips? Thank you. 325 equals x squared. And then you square root it. And Skip says it's going to be 18.027 feet.
Wow.
Okay? She already had the answer, so I just copied her answer.
Nice.
Yeah. I like that some people are working ahead and I don't have to have the figure out what the answer is. She already had it done for me. Good job. Okay, so I've got I have 3 questions. I think I might be able to. You have your answers up on your iPad, right? Your questions, or do you need to see them here? Okay, great. So go ahead and do. So once again, I'm just going to give you the answers. If you need to know way or how I got the answer, just let me know. Okay. So A is my side length is 4.359 inches. Okay, make sure that if when we're answering a story problem and it has units in there, our answers need to have units in there. Yeah, okay. And then B is 250 feet. And C is, how much is C? C is, what is C? 24 inches high. There we go. Beautiful. Are we okay with that? Ricky, are you okay? Do you know how I can get that right? A squared plus B squared. All right, I just draw a triangle. Okay. Alrighty. So the next we're going to talk about is the distance formula. Ladies and gentlemen, the distance formula is just the Pythagorean theorem written in a different form. And I'm going to show you 2 different ways to do this so you can decide which way you want to do it, okay? But I'm going to write out the distance formula for you so you can see what it looks like because, here we go. Distance formula equals the square root of x1 minus x2 squared plus y1 minus y2 squared. By the way, this is, I'm just gonna show you. This is a squared. This is b squared. D would be c squared. And how do I get d by itself? I take the square root of it. It's a Pythagorean theorem. Okay?
Could you zoom in?
Oh, of course I can, honey. Sorry. Is that good? Okay. We good? Okay, so another way you can think about it, because sometimes that formula, even though it is the Pythagorean theorem, is kind of intimidating to look at, right? It's like, what the heck? So I kind of think of it this way. I'm going to draw my little axes here, right? And this point at 0, 8 is here. I'm just going to say this is 0, 8, right? And then 6, 0 is here. Oops, 6, 0, sorry. And I want to find the distance between those 2 points. Are we okay with that? So I can make, basically, can I not make a right triangle here? Right? Between those 2 points? And then this distance here is 6, and this distance here is 8. Or I can talk to myself, because it's zeros, it's really easy, right? But I can say to myself, well, what's the distance between 0 and 6? 6, right? And what's the distance between, or difference, distance or difference, right? The difference between 8 and 0, well, that's 8. So now I have a squared plus b squared equals, instead of c, I'm going to say d, my distance, because that's what I'm looking for. So d squared is going to equal 6 squared plus 8 squared. And it'll make more sense when I talk about the other points that don't have 0 in it. Does that make sense, Emma? Okay. So now I'm just going to go ahead and do this. So d squared equals 36 plus 64. Oh, yeah. So d squared is going to equal 100. Square root this puppy. And I get d equals 10. Okay? Questions on that one? Is everyone okay? Oh, I'm sorry, Emma. Okay, not a problem, Emma. Oh, she probably already left. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing. Look at this next problem here. If you guys can see, here, let me zoom in now. So I'm going to kind of, oh, shoot. I don't want to zoom in that far. I'm going to kind of talk about the same thought process, only this one doesn't have zeros. And of course, I can't really draw this on the on my thing because it's a 21, right? 521. That's kind of huge to draw on your on a thing. Yeah, thank you. On a graph. Oh my Lanta. On a graph. So what I'm going to think of is what's my distance between 5 and -3, or how far apart are 5 and -3 on my graph? How far apart are they? What's the distance between 5 and -3?
Well,
Think of a number line. How far apart are they?
0 to 3 is 3.
8.
Yeah.
Right? From -3 to 0, it's 3. And from 0 to 5, it's 5. So 3 plus 5 is 8. Okay? And what's the distance between 21 and 1?
22 or 20.
Yeah, because they're both on the same side. So the distance between 21 and 1 is 20. So plus 20 squared. And there we go. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now, if you wanted to, also, I'm going to do this side by side. I can do the distance formula, right? I'm going to show you. Is where I take my x's and I subtract them. So I have 5 minus a minus 3 squared plus 21 minus 1 squared. So then this becomes, I want to catch this side up to this side. 8 squared plus 20 squared. Oh my gosh, I have the same thing, right? So it's doing the same thing. I'm doing this part, the thought process is a little different doing it on this one than having to memorize a formula. Okay, it's just like, what's the distance between them? I'm just taking my x values, subtracting them, and taking my y values and subtracting them. Okay, so sometimes thinking about things a little differently sometimes helps a little bit. So that's 8 squared is 64, and 20 squared is 400. So d squared is going to be 464. Square root that puppy. Square root 464. 464 is 21.541. 541. Okay? Questions on that? Are we okay? Does that make sense? Okay, awesome. No, what? It doesn't?
It does.
Okay, well, you can plug it into this formula if you want, and the formula gets you the same answer. Because look, we have this 8 squared plus 20 squared right here, 8 squared plus 20 squared, and then I have to take the square root of it, which I did here. So I get the same answer if I use the formula. Emma Taylor, maybe she won't have a problem. So go ahead and do, oh, wow, okay. I'm going to try and leave those two up here so you guys can see them and get as many of those up here as possible. Although everybody in here has a sheet, I don't know why I'm trying to, but not every. Let's see, how are we doing? So for A, again, I'm going to just write the answers. If you guys need to know why the answer is that, I can do that for you. You just need to let me know, okay? So for A, my answer is 5. D equals 5. And for B, D is approximately equal to 3.162.
Yeah.
And for C, my distance is approximately equal to 14.142. And for D, my distance is also D, 3.464. Is there any questions?
I got 8 for D.
You got 8?
Yeah, well, 8.4.
Well, this should be, right, so my distance, let's see, so distance squared is going to equal negative square root of 6 squared plus the square root of 6 squared, right? So that's 6 plus 6, which is the which is 12.
Oh, it's because I just did the 6 squared plus 6 squared. I didn't do like 6 plus 6.
Oh, no, it's not 6 squared plus 6 squared.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Okay.
I got the square.
Yeah. So D is approximately equal to 3.464. Order of operations. Can I do A? Of course I can. So A, so I'm going to do the distance between, so D squared, the distance between 4 and 7 is 3 squared. Okay? And the distance between 5 and 1 is 4 squared. Does that make sense? Because 4 minus 7 or 7 minus 4, it doesn't matter, is 3. And the distance between 5 and 1 is 4. So 3 squared plus 4 squared, so that's 9 plus 16, which is 25. Square root, square root. Did that help? Huh. So if I'm plugging it in for the other way, so here, let me come over here and do that. I should get D equals the square root of x's, right? So I'd get 4 minus 7 squared plus 5 minus 1 squared. So the square root of negative 3 squared plus 4 squared, which gives me 9 plus 16, which is that. I did get 5. Oh, okay. Awesome. Okay, any other questions, you guys?
Yeah.
What?
For D,
Yeah.
I don't get how you got 6.
Well, the square root of 6 minus 0 is just the square root of 6, right? Are you okay with that?
I have no idea what you just said.
The square root of 6 minus 0 is the square root of 6.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right? So the distance between the square root of 6 and 0 is the square root of 6. And the distance between negative square root of 6 and 0 is the square root of 6, right? So then I square it, yes? So what's the square root of 6 squared? 6. And the square root of 6 squared is 6. So then 6 plus 6 is 12. And the square root of 12 is 3 point whatever it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Are you okay with that now?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I was talking too fast.
So wait, why do you put it in parentheses?
I put this one in parentheses because there was a negative. I didn't have to have the negative, but I just left it there so you could see the difference between which square root of 6 I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Because remember, a negative squared is still a positive, so it just goes away. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice job, you guys. Okay. Thing is probably the easiest thing we're going to do today is the midpoint formula. It's the mid. What does mid mean? The middle, right? So it's the middle of 2 points. So this is what it says. x1 plus y. Oh no. No. Not y. So sorry. x1 plus x2 divided. I'm going to take the average of the x's. I'm going to add my x's together, divide by 2. I'm going to find the middle of my x's. Midpoint, right? And then guess what I'm going to do? Find the middle of my y's, and that's it. Add your x's together, divide by 2. Add your y's together, divide by 2. Midpoint. That's how you find something that's in the middle, right? You add them together, divide by 2.
You should have 2 answers.
Yeah, I should have an x value and a,
Y value.
yeah. So I'm going to add my x's together, divide by 2. Add my y's together, divide by 2. That's it. I don't know what, this is the easiest one, and this is the one that's missed the most. I don't know why.
I don't know either.
I don't know why.
When you go through it, it will tell you.
I don't know why. Because when I'm doing it, you guys are like, oh, I get this. This is easy. And then you do it by yourselves, and I'm like, did you forget what midpoint meant?
I think that's what happens.
It's in the name. Mid.
Yeah.
Middle.
Middle.
Mid is short for middle.
I think I'll just forget the formula for it.
So I'm going to add my x's together. So I get 1 plus 9. I'm going to divide by 2. Right? Because I want to find the middle of my x's. And then I'm going to find the middle of my y. So I'm going to do 4 plus a negative 6 divided by 2. So that gives me what? 10 divided by 2 and negative 2 divided by 2. So I should get 5 and negative 1. Done. That's it. That's all there is to it. I told you it wasn't hard. You add your x's, divide. Now, sometimes you'll get a fraction. It's okay. Right? Because if it was 9, I can't divide 9 by 2. I just write 9 halves. Right? Okay? If it's an odd number, I'm just going to do 9 divided by whatever that odd number is divided by 2. That's okay to leave it that way. And if, we'll get there. So, okay, so let's do the next one. Do the same thing, right? So, 8, so 8 plus a negative 3 divided by 2, and negative 2 plus 4 divided by 2. Yep. So that gives us 5 divided by 2, and 2 divided by 2. So that gives me 5 halves and 1. Done. I know, right? Not too bad?
So you wouldn't put decimal in?
If my numbers are given to me as a decimal, then I would write them as a decimal. So like if it said 8.0, then I would write them as a decimal. If not, just leave them as a fraction.
Okay.
Okay? Because remember, we're in the slope, we're talking about, we're in algebra now, so fractions are valuable,
Thank you.
whereas decimals really don't tell us a lot,
Okay.
right? They don't really do us a lot when we start graphing and stuff. They don't do a lot for us,
Yeah.
right? So decimals don't do a lot for us. Okay. Okay, there's 4 problems for you guys to do. And so you can see if you got them right. Okay, A is, my midpoint is 3, 4. Lovely. And B, my midpoint is 7 halves, 7 halves. And C, my midpoint is, why are you not sliding? My midpoint is -1, -3. And D, my midpoint is 0.70.
Okay.
We good?
Yeah, just see, I forgot to put the negative because the negative times the positive is the negative.
Why are you timesing? Oh, when you're
Dividing.
dividing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay. No, that's okay.